All right, so we've taken a lot of time focusing on writing algebraic expressions given phrases. So we're going to kind of work backwards today. We're going to look at those expressions, examples here at the top, and we're going to translate them back into the English language. All right, so on this slide, you should see this looming chart, right? We've talked about a lot. This again is going to be helpful just to kind of provide you some variety in how you translate it into English. So if we take a look at this first example in here, and I'm asking you to kind of bring your attention down right here. Okay, here is our math expression. So we have 12 minus 5. So you could say 12 minus 5. We could also use any of these words in the subtraction column to describe it. So we could say the difference of 12 and 5. We could say 12 decreased by 5. 12 less 5. 5 less than 12. Now, some of these, again, you should notice that are either in yellow category or in the blue category, like difference and less than. You can also just work left to right. You could simply say 12 minus 5. 12 less 5. 12 decreased by 5. You can use any of those non-highlighted words and not have to worry about the order of how you write your terms. So let's take a look at another example. How about 3 times 7? So if you notice, 3 times 7 is kind of probably how you would naturally read from left to right, 3 times 7. And here's 3 times 7. So again, you are more than welcome to move left or right and use those unhighlighted terms. However, you could also use the green or any other words, or I'm sorry, the blue, and say the product of 3 and 7. All right, one last one for you. Let's move it on down. Let's go to this one. I saved this one for last because it's got a variable. So if you remember when we first started diving into writing math expressions, anytime that there was a number listed, we just chose a variable. We often choose X in algebra. So if you see a variable, X or any other letter, you can simply call that a number. And if you look in our examples here of how we wrote them out in English, we just simply say a number. So X, anytime you have an X, you just use the words a number, because we don't really know what number it is, but it is a number. All right, and then we look at our addition sign. If you look, we could write it as the sum of 2 and a number, the total of 2 and a number, and again, you're choosing words from this addition column, or 2 increased by a number. You could also simply say 2 plus a number. So you're more than welcome to keep it basic with those unhighlighted terms. But again, this reference chart greatly helps you to see your options and increase the variety in how you write it. All right, so you can use, again, that keyword chart to increase the variety. You also, again, can work left to right when translating if you choose, and only need to really watch out for keywords that imply parentheses. So if you see parentheses, you should 100% be looking to use those blue highlighted words. Sum, total, difference, product, and quotient. Other than that, you just work left to right and you choose phrases. The other thing I mentioned is if you see a variable X, you can translate it as a number. So let's look at some examples below. So again, you can keep it simple. You could work from left to right and say 5 plus 10 minus 2. That is completely acceptable to work from left to right. We could also use different words. Again, I'm still going to have a 5, a 10, and a 2, but how I put them together, we could use some other key words. So if I looked at my chart, let's see if I can move it down here. Actually, just going to change this color real quick just so that we can see it stand out, and then see if I can get my type in over here. Okay, so I'm going to start out with 5 because that is the first number that you see. Instead of using the word plus, I could use any of these words. I'm going to go for added to. 5 added to 10. And again, using a different word than minus, I could use any of these other ones. You could say decreased by 2. So 5 plus 10 minus 2, or 5 added to 10 decreased by 2. Those are some options that you could have. Okay, let's look at the second one. Okay, we have 2 times x plus 14. So you could simply write it out how you'd say it. 2 times a number. Oh, sorry, my correction. Instead of saying x, we're going to use a number in place of that. So 2 times a number plus 14 would be one of the ways. Just reading it, that's how it naturally comes out. To give it some variety, you could also, again, if you like to stick with the basics, that's completely okay. If you want to go a little bit outside the basics, you could say 2. Oh, how about this? Twice a number. How about that one? Twice a number means 2 times x. Twice an unknown number added to 14, or added with 14. All right, we have another one down here for C, x minus 12, or a number minus 12. So again, you can keep it basic, just type it down how you see it and how you'd read it. To kind of switch it up, another word for minus would be subtract, less, difference, less than, fewer than. So if I wanted to get creative, see these yellow words? That meant we switch the order. So we would actually say 12 less than a number. 12 less than a number. So when we go to write it, we'd write x minus 12. So we can also do that when we are typing it out as far as in words. Okay, D, if you notice D is highlighted, here's why I have it highlighted. I want to draw your attention to right here. 3 plus 2. Now the reason why I'm asking you to look there is because it is in parentheses. So this would be the only time when you see parentheses that you need specific wording. My blue wording, right? Those are the words that meant to find the answer of that certain operation. So we always had to put those in parentheses. So for this last one, again, you can start from left to right. So we could say 15, move it up there so you can see me type, 15 divided by, and because there are parentheses around there and it's an addition problem, you could use either of these keywords, sum or total. Okay, so 15 divided by the sum of, what two things am I summing or adding together? 3 and 2. Another way I could say it is really pretty much the same way. Oh, it's coming up here at the top. Just to kind of switch up my wording a little bit. Again, just showing you some options. You do not have to do both ways. There's a bunch of different ways. So I could take out the word divided and put, well, really, divided would be the only word because quotient would mean I need parentheses around it, and I don't have parentheses around it. And I'm not halving it. I'm not taking it and dividing by 2. I'm taking 15 and dividing it by the sum of. Instead of using the sum of, I could say by the total of 3 and 2. So again, the biggest part is that because I see parentheses, that's the only time where you have specific words that you have to use, like those green ones. I'm sorry, the blue ones. Now, as far as the yellow, optional whether you use them. However, if you do use the yellow ones, you do need to switch the order. So they are a little bit more difficult. So if you don't feel as confident about them, do not worry about it. So see how, for example, C, I chose to write it 12 less than a number. I did not go from left to right. I used one of those yellow keywords. So again, if you're not as comfortable with that, by all means, you don't have to use those yellow words. And the last but not least, you can use the green words. You can still work left to right. They just have implied meaning. So here was an example of a green word. If you see a 2x or a 3x, you are multiplying between those terms, so you could use that wording as well. You can also keep it basic. Again, like the first examples I wrote, we're just reading it left to right and using some pretty basic language there. All right, so you have a practice activity. You're going to be asked to write down in English and translate 10 expressions. Use your keyword chart. I'll actually go ahead and highlight this for you real quick. Grab a blank sheet here. I'll throw it on here. All right, so I'm going to enlarge this for you guys. So if you have a phone handy, you can take a quick picture of this and use it when you complete your worksheet. If you don't have a phone handy, again, it's available on your Teams page under the resources right below the day of the week. So you can also find that there as well. Good luck. Reach out if you need help.